welcome back to Mystery Vault. Guys, today we're talking about horror thriller movie Bambi: The Reckoning, 2025. So without wasting your time, let's start. The film begins with an animation telling the story of a fawn named Bambi who lived happily in the forest with his mother. But one day, hunters killed his mother, leaving him alone in the dangerous jungle. He spent years escaping the dangers of the forest. Finally, Bambi found a mate. His family was now complete with a child. This made Bambi happy, just like he was in his childhood. But fate had other plans. After a short period of happiness, his life became difficult as humans began clearing forests, forcing them to move frequently. One day, while Bambi's family was crossing a road, a speeding truck ran over them. Bambi suffered only minor injuries, but unfortunately his mate died due to the truck driver's carelessness. His child, terrified by the accident, ran back into the forest. The truck driver stopped, but not to help. Instead, he went to the riverbank and dumped drums of toxic chemicals into the water. Afterward, he fled as if nothing happened. Bambi, having lost his family again, was driven mad by grief and anger. Thirsty, he drank water from the river, where the man had just mixed the toxic chemicals. After drinking, Bambi began to scream in pain. For a moment, it looked like he would die, but instead of killing him, the poison turned him into a strange creature. As Bambi twisted in pain, we see his bones growing. The sound of bones breaking and resetting was unbearable to watch. His muscles began to swell, his teeth grew sharp, and he changed from a cute deer into a monster that stood on two legs. He was already mad with grief. After enduring this pain, he vowed to take revenge on humans at any cost. The scene cuts and we return to reality. We see Zana and her son Benji about to celebrate Thanksgiving. But Zana was very upset because her husband had canceled at the last minute. Now, Zana had to make the long journey alone with her son. Unwilling to drive herself, she hailed a taxi to reach the cabin in the woods where Benji's grandmother lived. Benji felt sick due to the winding jungle roads, and his father's absence put him in a bad mood. Zana jokingly asked, "So what if your dad isn't here? Who's going to eat us in this jungle?" Hearing this, the driver got serious and warned them that this isn't a normal forest. People often disappear here. Benji began vomiting again and asked the driver to stop. The driver hit the brakes, but suddenly there was an explosion. Something heavy hit their car. It was so heavy that the car was thrown into the air and fell into a ditch. Everything was in chaos. Zana and Benji managed to escape from the broken car, saving their lives. They were injured and frightened. They felt that someone had dragged the driver away in the darkness. Whatever it was, it hunted humans. This made them even more terrified. To add to their fear, a terrifying sound was heard in the silence. A growl and heavy footsteps made them realize that someone was hunting them. To save their lives, the mother and son ran through the forest and finally reached Grandma Mary's cabin. Inside, the rest of the family was waiting. Simon's brothers, their wives, and children were there. Everyone was annoyed because Simon, Benji's father, hadn't arrived. We also learned that Benji's grandmother had dementia. She always sat in her chair, talking strangely and drawing scary sketches. Suddenly, there was a loud knock on the door, and as they opened it, they saw Zana and Benji had arrived. Both of them were extremely scared and trembling. The family took them inside to calm them down and asked what happened. Benji told them about the accident and the creature that attacked the driver. Simon's family was confused. Simon's brother tried to be brave, picking up a flashlight and saying, "I'll go help the driver." Meanwhile, we see other people in the forest. They are famous hunters, but they were not there to hunt normal animals. They had a huge contract from the Wilbaxer Company. Their mission was to kill the mutated Bambi so the company could hide the secret that their toxins were turning animals into zombies. As they walked, they found the broken taxi near the ditch. The hunters were spooked, and then they heard something approaching. Scared, they fired shots in that direction without checking if it was an animal. Tragically, Simon's brother had come there to save the driver, but lost his own life instead. Seeing the man dead, the other hunters got angry at their partner, but decided not to report it. Digging a hole to hide the body, the scene cuts back to the grandmother's cabin. Zana, still terrified, looked at her mother-in-law's drawings and noticed that only one thing was drawn: a large black deer with menacing horns. If Grandma was drawing this monster, it meant she had seen it. Zana understood that danger was very close. Benji went to his grandmother and listened to what she was saying. She muttered about someone playing outside. Benji didn't understand, so he looked out the window and screamed. Standing among the trees was the zombie deer, Bambi, standing on two legs like a human. His eyes glowed red, and his large horns looked terrifying. Bambi roared and ran toward the cabin. Panic broke out inside. Everyone tried to save themselves, but Bambi smashed through the door. Benji and his uncle quickly escaped, but Benji's aunt tried to hide in the bathroom. However, Bambi broke the door and stabbed her with his horns. To save herself, she escaped through the bathroom window with Bambi chasing her. The others, sitting in the vehicle, watched as Bambi brutally killed the man. Meanwhile, they tried to start the car to save themselves, but it would not start. Terrified, they saw Bambi coming toward them, ready to kill. Finally, luck turned, and the engine started. They pulled onto the road, but Bambi was still behind them, leaping and repeatedly, trying to knock them off the road. But Benji's uncle was a good driver. He kept control and sped up, allowing them to escape Bambi. But after a short distance, a large tree blocked their path. They were trapped, unable to move. Time was running out. Bambi would reach them soon. They decided to move the tree. The uncle said, "I'll go down and tie a rope to the tree. We will use the van to pull it, clearing the road." Benji was given the responsibility to drive the van. They prepared everything, but suddenly, the monster, Bambi, emerged from the darkness. Seeing this, Benji was so frightened he didn't think. He pressed the accelerator. As a result, his uncle got tangled in the rope. He was dragged along by his leg, leaving him severely injured. His son, who was left behind, also tried to escape and ran into the forest. He avoided the monster, but in his frustration, he kicked a small rabbit. That rabbit brought its friends to take revenge. It turned out the rabbits were also transformed into zombies by toxic waste. They attacked the boy, knocked him down, and began eating him. The scene cuts back to the van. The hunter's truck arrived where the van had stopped. Zana saw them and asked for help. The hunters took them aboard. When they reached their base, Zana and Benji were shocked to see that Simon was there. Even though he skipped dinner, he was here in the forest. What business did he have here? Simon revealed the harsh truth. He is a high-ranking officer at the Wilbaxer Company. He made a mistake when he ordered the company's toxic waste dumped in the forest, because treating the waste properly cost too much money. So Simon kept the money for himself and dumped the waste here. After drinking the toxins, Bambi and other animals turned into monsters. If this secret got out, the company and Simon would be sued and sent to jail. He hired these hunters to protect himself and wanted to kill Bambi and clear the forest. Hearing this, Zana yelled at him, saying his mistake caused his own brother's death and now his son and she were in danger. Simon replied, "I don't care. I never wanted this responsibility." Benji heard everything and realized his father didn't love him. Deeply saddened, he ran away. When Benji went a little further, he saw a cage covered with a blanket. He removed the cloth and was shocked to see a fawn inside. He realized the hunters were using it as bait to lure the monster, Bambi. Benji felt the animal's pain, as he was also away from his father. So he opened the cage and freed it. Meanwhile, Bambi, who was about to kill someone, smelled his child. He left the man and went to find him. Searching for his child, he entered the hunter's camp. He first saw the grandmother, but before he could eat her, a worker screamed, and Bambi attacked him. Everyone in the control room was ready to kill Bambi. Just then, the ground shook, and the mutant Bambi arrived. The hunter tried to shoot, but the monster threw him away. Bambi had Simon's family in front of him, but instead of saving them, Simon fled to save himself. He got into his expensive car and locked the doors. He thought he was safe, but it was an illusion. He hadn't closed the back windows. The bloodthirsty rabbits attacked him there and killed him. The scene cuts to the camp, where only Xana, Benji, and the monster were left. The zombie stood over them, breathing heavily. Before it could kill them, the little deer emerged from the bushes. Bambi saw his son and was overjoyed. They celebrated their reunion. But the story didn't end there. The hunter who was thrown by the monster was still alive. He raised his gun and shot Bambi. Even as he died, the hunter laughed viciously, thinking he had won. At this moment, Grandma emerged from the darkness and killed the cruel man by stabbing him. He met his end. Xana returned with Mary. The three of them witnessed a sad scene of a father and son separated again. Bambi died from the bullet. The little deer tried to wake his father, but he wouldn't wake up. This child met the same fate as his father. He, like Bambi, was now destined to be alone. And with this, the movie ends. If you like my explanation, please subscribe our channel.